Hey guys! In this video, we'll look at some more inventions that were invented by accident. All information in this video is collected from Best Life and Bored Panda. So, let's start. Number 1. Matches. In 1826, chemist John Walker discovered what are now matchsticks when he accidentally scraped a stick coated in chemicals across his hearth and found that it caught fire. Walker's friction lights, as he called them, were originally made out of cardboard, but eventually he switched over to using wooden splints and sandpaper. Number 2. Safety glass. One fateful day in 1903, scientist Edward Benedictus was working in his lab when he accidentally knocked over a flask. However, when Benedictus looked down, he noticed that rather than breaking into a million little pieces, the glassware had actually just cracked slightly while maintaining its shape. After looking into it a bit further, the scientist learned that what had kept the glass together was cellulose nitrate coating the inside of the glass, and thusly, safety glass was created. Number 3. Quinine. Quinine, the anti-malarial drug composed primarily of cinchona tree bark, was allegedly discovered by a South American Indian. While suffering from malaria, the man accidentally consumed some cinchona bark, thought to be poisonous, via a pool of water, and miraculously he started to feel better almost immediately. Number 4. Dry cleaning. Though the inventor of dry cleaning, Jean-Baptiste Joly, did work in the clothing industry as a textile maker, his discovery of a revolutionary new cleaning method was completely by accident. It was only when his maid accidentally knocked a kerosene lamp over onto a tablecloth that Joly observed that the kerosene actually made the cloth cleaner, thus spawning the idea for the very first dry cleaner. Number 5. Vulcanized rubber. Vulcanized rubber, used to make durable things like car tires, was accidentally invented in 1839 by Charles Goodyear. Though he had been trying to create a weatherproof rubber for years, he was only successful in doing so when he accidentally dropped some regular rubber mixed with sulfur onto a hot stove and found that it still maintained its structure. Number 6. Vaseline. Excited about the possibilities of what could be made with petroleum, 22-year-old chemist Robert Augustus Cheeseborough decided to head to the town where the product had been discovered to play around with it a bit. While there, Cheeseborough observed that the men drilling the petroleum would use a byproduct of the process on their skin to soothe and heal cuts and burns, and he turned this observation into the product known today as Vaseline. Number 7. The ice cream cone. This one is not really an accident, it's more thinking on the spot. It wasn't until the 1904 St. Louis World's Fair that someone came up with the idea to spin a wafer-like waffle into the shape of a cone, and this idea was birthed simply out of necessity. When an ice cream vendor at the fair ran out of dishes to serve his ice cream in, the vendor next to him, named Ernest A. Hamwee, came up with the idea to shape his waffles into cones as vessels for the frozen treat. Number 8. Tea bags. Though two women first filed a patent in 1901 for a tea leaf holder made out of mesh, the invention of the modern tea bag is credited to tea merchant Thomas Sullivan. In 1908, Sullivan began shipping samples of his tea out in small silk pouches, and though his intention wasn't for people to use these as tea bags, customers did so anyway, and they loved the convenience of it. Number 9. The safety pin. Supposedly, inventor Walter Hunt was sitting at his desk trying to figure out a way to pay off some debts when he started to futz around with some wire. As he played around with the scrap of metal, he discovered that when coiled, it could clasp to itself and unclasp again, and on April 10, 1849, Hunt patented his idea for the safety pin. Number 10. Silly putty. During World War II, engineer James Wright was tasked with inventing a cheap alternative to synthetic rubber. While working on finding a substitute, Wright dropped boric acid into silicone oil and discovered that the resulting product was stretchy and bouncy, with the added bonus of being able to copy words from newspaper clippings and comic strips. However, Wright's employers weren't impressed by his nutty putty, and it wasn't until a few years later that businessman Peter Hodgson saw the potential in it. By the way, if you are enjoying this video, a subscribe to my channel will be wonderful. I want to reach 100 subscribers at the end of this year. If you are already subscribed, share my videos to your friends. Okay, now back to business. Number 11. Bubble wrap. Engineers Alfred Fielding and Mark Chavon did invent bubble wrap on purpose. But when they made it, the intended use for the product was all wallpaper, not as packing material. However, when their bubbly wallpaper proved to be unsuccessful, The two entrepreneurs decided to pivot and market their product instead as greenhouse insulation and later, in 1960, as protective packaging.
Number 12.
Velcro. While walking his dog, Swiss engineer George de Mestral noticed the bothersome burrs that clung to his clothing. He discovered that the burrs possessed tiny hooks that gave them the ability to attach to clothing and fur with ease. De Mestral was motivated to create a fastening mechanism that made use of the same idea by nature's design for the burrs. The end result was what is now known as Velcro.
Number 13.
Radioactivity. You can thank Henri Becquerel and Mother Nature for this one. In 1896, the chemist was attempting to make fluorescent materials emit X-rays when exposed to sunshine. He had to leave the goods in his drawer because it was a week of clouds and overcast, which was unfortunate. He opened the drawer when the sun finally emerged and discovered the uranium rock he had been using had left its mark on a nearby photographic plate without being exposed to light, and the rest is history.
Number 14.
Cornflakes. A failed attempt to cook wheat in 1894 was what gave rise to the recipe for cornflakes. John Kellogg was in charge of the medical department at the Seventh-day Adventist Battle Creek Sanitarium at the time. John was attempting to develop a diet for the patients at the sanitarium with the help of his brother William, who also worked there. The brothers mistakenly overcooked some wheat one day while attempting to prepare it. The wheat was instead divided into flakes when they tried to roll it out into dough after taking it from the burner. As the brothers discovered, the flakes could be baked into a crunchy snack.